everyone. We are continuing our learning of Sefer Yeshayahu. We are up to Perek Yud Ches. These are the Nevuos of the Umos Ha'olam, as I indicated in the last Shiur. Some of these are short-term prophecies. Some of these are messianic prophecies. Perek Yud Ches, which is really a continuation of Perek Yud Zayin. The end of Perek Yud Zayin prophesies about the downfall of Sancheriv. But then, after we discuss the downfall of Sancheriv, we discuss the eventual downfall of Gog and Magog. We don't really know exactly who these nations are, but this is the final apocalyptic wars before the coming of Mashiach. And the Geula from Gog and Magog is none other than the final messianic redemption. I had mentioned that the Navi Yeshayahu constantly moves from the short-term prophecy of the downfall of Sancheriv to the long-term prophecy of the wars of Gog and Magog and Bias HaMashiach. Now, the Gemara in Sanhedrin says that there actually is a justification to move back and forth, because it was HaKadosh Baruch Hu's original plan that Sancheriv would be the Gog and Magog, and Chizkiyahu's defeat of Sancheriv would usher in Mashiach, and Chizkiyahu would have been Mashiach. But the generation was not worthy. So it turned into a great, great miracle, but it was not the final redemption of Mashiach. And for Keret, there was a Churban Abayis. Now, there's interestingly enough, think about this. If Chizkiyahu would have been Mashiach, that means we would have had Mashiach without a Churban Beis HaMikdash, not only without a Churban Bayis Sheni, but even without a Churban Bayis Rishon. So as a result, the Nevuos of Perek Yud Ches, unlike the actual downfall of Sancheriv, have not yet happened. And we don't know when they will happen, because they are messianic in nature. So by definition, the events of Perek Yud Ches are mechusa from us. So we will do the best that we can. And the Navi is now addressing the Gog Magog people who will try to destroy Yerushalayim, the Acharis Hayomim. But again, it's confusing, because when Yeshayahu uttered this nevuah, he might have been thinking of Ashur, which could have been Gog Magog. So this is a very fascinating point we don't have time to go into, that a Navi himself may not understand the final fulfillment of his prophecy. Yeshayahu is thinking Sancheriv, because that could have been. We know now that since Sancheriv was not Gog and Magog, and Chizkiyahu was not Mashiach, this is talking about Acharis Hayomim. But be it as it may, the Navi says these words: Hay Eretz Tzilsal Kinafayim. Alas to the land that is covered with birds. Again, a very strange expression, but it refers to the idea that many, many migratory birds came to either Assyria or the lands of the north, and that kind of gave them, based on their superstitious, idolatrous belief, they felt that being covered by the wings of birds was a sign from their gods that they were being protected. Now, this was a narishkeit, this was an illusion, but nevertheless, the Navi mocks them by saying, you land that thinks you're protected by your birds, Asher me'ever l'narei Kush, that you are beyond the rivers of Kush. Now, this is said to be a description of Ashur, or Gog and Magog, that's even further to the east of Eretz Yisrael. Again, some say Gog and Magog is Russia. Again, I don't want to comment on contemporary events, but the Russia-Ukraine conflict, some want to say that it may be connected to Gog and Magog. Now, why is Ashur described beyond the rivers of Kush? I mean, I understand it depends what the rivers mean. If the rivers mean Paras and Chidekel, So yeah, indeed, they are east of the Euphrates River. But why would you call the Euphrates River the river of Cush? Cush is generally Africa. So one would have thought the Nile of Cush would be the Nile. But the Mefarshim say no, this refers to Pras. So I have a Tzarachian, I don't fully chap why we call the Tigris and Euphrates the rivers of Cush. But be it as it may, alas to this nation that thinks you're protected by your birds when you come from the other side of the Euphrates. Hasholeach bayam tsirim ubichli gomal pnei amayim. And apparently Assyria also had a navy, that they would send boats on the water in order to attack not only from land but also from the Mediterranean, because they did it from other directions. So Hashem is basically saying, yes, you're swift, you'll be very swift, but you are malachim, you are shaluchim of Hashem, meaning to say, don't think, whether it's Ashur or whether it's Gog uMagog, Hashem is sending you to wage war against his people, to bring them to tshuva, but you will eventually be defeated. Malachim kalim, you are swift emissaries. You are being sent, El Goy, to a nation, the Jewish people, Memushach, that over centuries has been pulled in many directions. Morat, it's had its hair pulled out. Again, Halashon of being afflicted. El Am Norah, you are being sent, however, to an awesome nation, a great nation. Yeah, it'll look like you're big shots and you're winning, but know that you are being sent to a nation that is much greater than you. Norah means an awesome nation. Minhu v'hala, that is so much greater than you are. Goy kav kav, it is a nation that God is punishing a little at a time. But that doesn't mean you're better than them. It's the other way around, precisely because Klal Yisrael is so great. They get punished. Mevuza, it is a nation that has been trampled on. Asher bazu naharim artso, that turbulent rivers, and that's a kinoi for the Umos HaOlam, have flooded his territory. Yes, you will be given a certain power to impose devastation on this nation. But this nation is a great nation, beloved of God. Pasuk Gimel is a pasuk that I hope you'll recognize. It is one of the psukim in the Musaf of Rosh Hashanah, in the Shofros, the verses that deal with Shofar, the Shofar of Geula. Kol Yeshvei Sevel. Right, this is in the Musaf of Rosh Hashanah. All people who live on earth, Sheichei Oretz, in other words, the whole world. Yeah, the Jews are oppressed, the Jews are destroyed, the Jews are decimated, the Jews are exiled. It looks like the Jews are hated by God and rejected by God. But there will come a time, Kineso Nes Horim, that a banner will be lifted from the highest mountains, so to speak, calling the Jewish people home. And when that banner is raised, Tiru, you nations will see it. V'chitkaya shofar, and when the shofar of Hashem is blowing to bring us back home, Tishma'u. Now this means two things. You will hear it, you will listen to it, meaning the nations themselves will help us come back. Now whether this refers to the Persians, Koresh, who allowed the Jews to come back to Eretz Yisrael after the 70 years of exile, whether it refers to Harry Truman, who in 1948 recognized the State of Israel, whether it refers to Liosid Lavo in the days of Mashiach. All of the nations will accept. This is after the Gog Magog, but this is the prophecy. The whole world will see the banner and hear the shofar. And of course, this pasuk is also the source for our weekday davening. Tikah b'shofar gadol l'cheruseinu v'sanes. Lift up a banner. Again, that's metaphorical. It's not going to be a flag. Sanes. Nes means a banner, a flag. L'kabetz galu yoseinu. Ki chai amar Hashem elai. Now the Navi is speaking in first person. For so says Hashem to me, Eshkata v'yabita b'mechoni. Even though there will be so much suffering, Hashem will be giving us onshim and sorrows. There will come a time, Hashem says, Eshkata, when I will be quiet. I will no longer punish. V'yabita b'mechoni. And I will look at my Beis HaMikdash in Shamayim to bring it back on earth. Mechoni is my Mikdash. K'chaim tzach alei or. And it will be like clear warmth on a summer day. In other words, the concept would be, again, this is using the harvest metaphor the other way. We talked about the Jewish people as being a bad harvest, and a harvest that will be carried away by the enemies. But now we're describing the warmth of the sun on the harvest that allows the grain to grow and flourish. Ka'av tal b'chaim katzir. And it will be like the gentle dew in the heat of the sun in the harvest. In other words, the Jewish people will flourish, will grow. They will be brought back. Again, this could have happened, b'mei Chizkiyahu. It will happen, b'ezrat Hashem, after Gog Magog. Ki lifnei katzir. Because before the umos are able to harvest you in a bad way, kitam perach, when your flower has completed, uboser gomel yiyanitza, and your budding will produce the beginning of a fruit. In other words, there will come a time in which the umos are ready to harvest you, but I won't let them do it. V'charas hazalzalim, I will cut away their branches, b'mazmerot, with pruning hooks, v'yes hanetishot, and their growths, heisir heitaz, I will remove. So, this is a reversal of the metaphor. It starts off describing the Jewish people as harvest, in which the umos are going to come and cut them away. Hashem says, before they get to harvest you, I, Hashem, will harvest them. In other words, the harvesters are going to become the harvest. I will take, again, these are metaphors, I will take pruning hooks and cut away their branches, and their growths I will throw away and discard. Meaning, they're coming to cut you down? You're the harvest? I, Hashem says, will harvest them. Right, because this is actually, if you look in Yechezkel, which actually gives you the details of Gog and Magog with more specificity, you actually see that Gog and Magog will do a lot of devastation, but eventually they will be defeated, and their bodies will be abandoned to Eit Harim. These are like the birds of prey that inhabit the mountains, the vultures. V'lebahamas haaretz, and to the animals that are carnivorous animals like jackals. The cuts olav ha'ayit, so cuts here means summer, kayetz. In the summer, the vultures will come. V'chol behemas haaretz olav techaref, and in the winter, the animals will come. Again, I'm not entirely sure. It could be maybe the birds go somewhere else for the winter, so it's kind of describing in the summer, these corpses will be consumed by the ayat, by the vulture, and in the winter, they will be consumed by the animals, the jackals, the hyenas, and the like. And what will happen when that messianic day comes? Bo'esahi, and on that time, Yuval Shai Hashem Tzavakot. The nation, this is a remarkable pasuk, the nations will bring a gift to God. And what will the gift of the nations be? The Jewish people. Again, I'm learning, based on a number of Meforshim, that Yuval Shai, Amma Mushach, they're not the subject. It doesn't say the Jews bring the gift. The Jews are the gift. And it describes them with the same sad terms that it used at the beginning of the parak. The Am that was Memushach, the nation that was pulled in so many directions. Morat, the nation whose hair was plucked. Me'am Noram in Huvahala, a nation that was so much greater than the nations that oppressed it. Goy Kav Kav, a nation that was oppressed a little at a time constantly. Mevusa, a nation that was trampled upon. Asher, again, the same words at the beginning of the parak. Asher Bazu Naharim Artso, that turbulent rivers flooded its land. That's the persecution of the nations. But the Umos Ha'olam shall give God a gift of the Jewish people, bringing them El Makom Shem Hashem Tzavakos, to the place which has the name of Hashem, Har Tzion. So this is a remarkable pasuk, at least the way I'm learning it. The nations will bring the Jews back to Eretz Yisrael. So this is very, very remarkable. This is an important yesod that Limos HaMashiach, and as I say, it happened Bimei Kairesh. It happened in 1948, although I don't want to get into Zionist politics. It'll happen Limos HaMashiach, in which the nations themselves will be makir, the legitimacy of the right of Klal Yisrael to be in Eretz Yisrael and have a Beis HaMikdash. And therefore, amazingly, the Yuval Shai, the gift that the nations will give, is their recognition of Am Yisrael as the Am Hashem that will dwell in Har Tzion, which is Yerushalayim and the Makayim HaMikdash.